very good morning, my dear Silent Rose family. As we head out today into a beautiful Sunday, for your reflection, I wanted to bring to you a very special verse from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own understanding. In all your ways know him, and he will make your paths straight. The part of this verse that really caught my attention is to trust in the Lord with all your heart and to not rely on our own understanding. Very often, whenever we face a crisis situation, it's in our human nature, in our human DNA, to want to depend on our own strengths, our own abilities to resolve that crisis. And sometimes, when this crisis is something that our own understanding or our own abilities cannot fix, we tend to think that this is the end of the road. For people like us who think that way, God today speaks to us through this verse, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 6, to trust in the Lord with all your heart and to not rely on your own understanding. And he goes on to say, in all your ways know him, and he will make straight your paths. In our everyday lives, we tend to run with our own timetable, right? Like if we look at our own lives, we have certain milestones that we wish to meet, to get our children into wonderful schools, to get them through board exams. Once that's done, then we're in a race to get them into the best undergrad college. Once they're done with getting into good undergrad education, then we're worried about, what kind of a job are they going to get into? And then once we get into the job, the next rat race is to get them married. And so it's like this, our life keeps going from one milestone to another milestone to another milestone. But a lot of times, we do encounter circumstances that are out of our control, where we might run into delays, or maybe things don't go according to our plan. And in these moments, many of us forget that maybe God has a plan, and maybe God's ways, or rather God's plan, doesn't run according to our timetable. And it is a very, human nature in us that makes us think that these are setbacks. But in reality, this is an open invitation, an open challenge to us, where God is telling us, don't trust in your ways, don't trust in your own understanding, but come to me, let me take care of you. You can fall on me, you can trust me. God says, before you were even formed in the womb, I have called you by your name. I have every little need of yours in my mind, in my heart. I will take care of you. This is a promise that God is making to us. In the book of Genesis, we see God asking of Abraham a most painful sacrifice. As you all know, Abraham and Sarah waited for the longest time to have a child of their own. And their son Isaac was a beautiful fulfillment of a promise that God had given them. Despite the many, many number of years they waited, they patiently waited, there came a day when God made Abraham and Sarah parents by giving them Isaac. But one fine day, God tells Abraham, I need you to sacrifice your only son. This son who you waited many, many, many years to parent. God Himself gave Isaac to Abraham and Sarah, but today God was asking Abraham to sacrifice that very special gift that God Himself had given Abraham. In Abraham's human understanding, he would have so much loved his son, and he would have wanted to beg and plead with God to spare Isaac. Abraham would have bargained, and he would have told God, God, I can give you my priciest, most special lamb, but please spare my son. These are the many things that Abraham could have done in his own human understanding to spare Isaac. But instead, Abraham chose to not lean on his own understanding, for his faith and his love and his trust in God were far greater. He understood that even in this difficult situation, this difficult choice that he had to make, God will only stand by and do what was best for Abraham and his family. Abraham had a full understanding of this. And so, instead of choosing to rely on his own understanding, Abraham chose to place his trust in God. And God definitely made straight his paths. God saw Abraham's willingness to be faithful, to trust God's ways. When God saw Abraham's willingness, God abundantly blessed Abraham's family and his life. Dear friends, and so today's verse from the book of Proverbs is an open invitation to us, asking us, can we learn to relinquish control? Can we submit our lives and trust ourselves with God? Can we trust a loving Heavenly Father to take care of our needs, no matter how bad our situation may be? On that note, dear friends, I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful day and week ahead. We're keeping you all in our prayers, and let's just trust God and learn to depend less on our own understanding. Have a blessed day, everyone.